Modern Mexico has been taught a strange myth that the Aztecs were the good guys, that they were innocent victims, that they somehow represent true Mexico. That is not history, it's ideology. The Mexica, commonly called the Aztecs, were not a peaceful civilization. They were a violent, expansionist empire that ruled central Mexico through terror, domination, and ritualized killing. And unlike other great empires, like the Roman, the Greek, or the Chinese, violence was not incidental, it was systematic. War was not a tool of the state, war was the state. The Aztec economy, religion, and political legitimacy depended on constant warfare. They did not fight to defend borders, they fought to capture prisoners. Because the religion required human sacrifice on an industrial scale. Thousands were sacrificed regularly, and during major ceremonies, tens of thousands. Also, ritual cannibalism did occur, tied directly to sacrifice and elite warfare culture. Not because of hunger, not because of survival, but as a religious and political act. This was not symbolic, this was not rare, and it was not comparable to any other ancient civilization. The Aztec Empire exercised total domination through fear. Entire indigenous nations lived under crushing tribute. Their people were taken, their children were taken, their warriors were taken, alive. This is why the Aztecs were so hated. When Hernán Cortés arrived, he did not defeat Mexico. There was no Mexico. He entered a world already fractured by Aztec oppression. Tens and eventually hundreds of thousands of indigenous allies eventually joined him. Not because they loved Spain, but because they despised the Aztecs, the Tlaxcaltecas, Totonacas, Huejotzincas, and many others. And they were not traitors, they were the majority. And here is a groundbreaking truth. Most Mexicans are not Aztecs. The Aztecs were a small ruling elite. Their descendants are a tiny minority within Mexico today. Mexico was built by the other indigenous nations, by Spanish settlers, by mestizo families, and by the civilization of New Spain. Yet somehow, the Aztecs, the oppressors, were turned into the heroes because the Black legend needed a counter myth. Spain had to be painted as the villain, so the Aztecs had to become the saints. That inversion was politically useful after independence. It allowed new leaders to reject Spain, so modern Mexico glorifies Aztec symbols, while ignoring the indigenous nations who actually allied, survived, and built the country. And it downplays Spain, the civilization that introduced law, cities, universities, medicine, architecture, global trade, and stability. The Aztecs did not build Mexico. Mexico was built after them, by a Hispanic civilization that integrated the indigenous peoples instead of sacrificing them. This is not about hatred, it's about honesty. You cannot heal an identity built on a lie, and you cannot understand Mexico while worshiping the empire that terrified its ancestors. History does not need myths, it needs courage. And the truth is clear. The Aztecs were not the good guys, and Mexico was born only after they fell. Thank you for watching.